Welcome to the Victors Nation show. I am your host, Jason Robinson, Derek McCarty, Dre Fame. Like, comment, subscribe for free. I was going to say Tom Brady, so I was like thinking of the same thing, but like, comment, and subscribe for free. We got an interesting one tonight. It's an agree, disagree conversation in sports, but overall an interesting topic regarding revenue sharing. So let's get after it, boys.
Yeah, go blue, without a doubt, every single
Mm-hmm.
week. But yeah, we've got some crazy things going on in the world of college
Yeah.
athletics. So we're a couple weeks behind on this. We wanted to be able to get our thoughts together, and one of the things you'll find that we do is, we're just like any of you that tune in every single week. We're at the end of the day, we are Michigan fans, and so everything that we do is to try and connect Michigan fans. And we're never going to try and race to be a news source that's breaking news or anything like that. So let's dive in and talk about some of the major changes that are hitting college sports right now. So House versus NCAA has officially led to some of the things we even talked about on this podcast over the last 2 years, that we were on a collision course for college athletics to basically become minor league athletics, especially with the major conferences, right? Talking about the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12 at some capacity, the ACC at some capacity, but really the two major conferences. Well, we're to a point that everyone but the NCAA probably knew we were going to get to, and that is college players are now going to start getting paid. For those of you that think back to the Jim Harbaugh days of the NCAA hating him, one of the things he was vocal about is that players should get their fair share of this billion-dollar industry that is college athletics.
Yeah.
And we are there. So in the House v. NCAA, there's been some major changes that have taken place. And one of those changes is that starting this athletic season, there is basically a salary cap of $20.5 million that schools can share with their athletes. And that can be divvied up amongst whatever sports the school wants to. Not every sport has to opt into doing it. I can tell you that those that don't are basically going to be in a different division of college athletics, because there's not going to be a decent to big time recruit that's going to go to a school that's not paying them, when there's schools that are going to be willing to pay them. In addition to that, there's also a shakeup with scholarships and roster limits. So previously, each sport had a scholarship limit that it could offer to student athletes, and that is no longer the case. Now there can be an unlimited number of scholarships offered via any sport. However, there are roster limits that will be in place for sports. So for example, football. Previously, football used to have a limit of 85 scholarships, and now they can have an unlimited number of scholarships, but they have a roster limit of 105 players. All right, so they can carry 105 players and offer full scholarships to all 105 of those players, as long as the school can afford to pay for those full scholarships. Basketball has men's basketball had a roster or a scholarship limit of 13, and now they can again offer unlimited scholarships, but they have a roster limit of 15. Women's basketball is the same, 15 limit roster, and several other sports have no longer scholarship limits, but roster limits, and can offer scholarships everywhere, which is going to be part of the plan. So a completely major change in the landscape of college athletics, and one that we all kind of saw coming at some capacity, but even us as fans may have resistance to, because it is different, and it is going to turn it into pay for play instead of the amateurism that college athletics used to be. Yep. So let's get started and talk a little bit about the impact of this on college sports in general. So Jason, we'll start with you. Get some thoughts from you on what you think, what your opinions are. Thoughts, opinions, concerns about the impact of this change across college athletics as a whole.
Well, first, when Jim made that comment, so I mean, you saw the Pac-12 fold with, TV endorsements sharing there within revenue, but it's a little contradicting, don't you think? So it's like actually happening right now. It's kind of what Jim wanted, what he commented about, but man, they were on our ass as soon as he made that comment. Cheeseburger, whatever you guys, sure we're going to be talking about the sign stealing stuff at some point in the future and what they decided with that, but really up our ass when he made that comment. So a little contradicting by the NCAA, kind of bipolar organization, a little weird. Dated some girls like that too, and didn't work out. But, however, it is going to shake up college football because it's going to change the format of college football. I've said it before. I think we can all agree. We've talked about it in the past as well, too. There is going to be a super conference. There's going to be a super league with the Big Ten and the SEC. I think we are going to see that sooner or later. And the teams that don't get on this train with revenue sharing, we're not going to see them in that conference. So it's going to be different. It's going to shake up college football a little bit to where you're going to see a little bit more athlete than student, I think. But it's going to be a semi-pro league is what it's going to turn into. I don't see the NCAA around football in the near future. Maybe other sports, but definitely not this one. And then you're going to see basketball get hit next as well, too. But that is probably the end goal of those two conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten working together, which they already are, and other things. You're going to see more non-conference games as well, too, but that's what it's basically going to turn into, essentially. So it's going to provide an unfair advantage for schools or smaller schools that don't have the revenue to share with this. So we've talked about football getting the biggest slice of that, men's basketball getting the second biggest slice of that as well, too, for Michigan. But these other schools that just don't have the money for it, it's just not going to happen. Now that it's legal, like it never happened before, right? But I'm sure it did under the table. But regardless, it's going to look different. The format, conferences, an actual league in college football, I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be weird. For sure. Yeah. We're not going to be used to it, but that's what it's turning into. It's what it's definitely turning into right now.
Yeah, and I mean, not just a league in college football. I mean, think about the blue bloods of college football, the blue bloods of college basketball, because those are different things, right? So you're gonna have I don't know how every school is gonna break this down, but think about Duke, for example, right? They're a basketball school. They've had some good years occasionally with football, right? But nothing massive, right? Where are they going to take their resources and apply them? They're going to apply them to basketball, right? So we're going to have, I think, a couple power conferences across different sports that end up kind of merging together. And it might not be the same with football as it is in basketball, because the resources might not be there or worthwhile for somebody like a Duke when it comes to football versus basketball, because they know that they can put their program into contention of Elite Eight, Final Four, national championship every year in basketball. They always have, right? So absolutely, I agree. Dre, what about you? What are your thoughts on the overall impact across just college athletics in general?
I mean, I think it's good for college athletics. It gives. I'm gonna just speak on football. You know what I'm saying? Because it's majority of what I watch. So, um, I think it gives a lot of teams more depth in case of injuries. And give more kids um more opportunities because every kid don't get picked. You know what I mean? Just because of the overall rules that was in place about scholarship numbers and roster spots. So with the increase of that, a lot of kids get more opportunities. Um, like I said, more depth. I mean depth, and I mean that's how that's the only thing I really can say about it so far. Um, but I do agree that in a couple of years the NCAA will be obsolete and
Mhm.
it'd be.
Cheers to that.
I don't know if it's gonna be two conferences or three. But it's gonna be all about
Be one
a
league.
money play. Yeah, like it's gonna be.
One league, two
I don't know what it's
conferences,
gonna,
NFC, AFC,
but
but
it.
yeah,
But I,
we don't know.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. I don't know, but I just know that the NCAA will be obsolete. I think they already got one foot out, and they're starting to see that now that um all these laws are being able to be changed, and they can't govern the stuff that they used to govern, like pay people getting paid and schools getting paid. It's stuff that the NCAA is wanted to keep a grip on for a long time, and now that they're losing grip, I think a lot of schools is gonna be like, well, if like, what do we need y'all for? So we'll see. We'll see.
Mhm. A nice
Yeah,
shakeup.
yeah, and I mean, I agree. We're gonna have probably some sort of a curve. I honestly, I think it's gonna help balance out the transfer portal situation that we're in right now. I think it's gonna help balance out the guys that go and hit the transfer portal just because somebody reached out to them and offered them
What
more
will
money to
the
transfer.
uppage of the the uppage of the scholarships or the
The revenue,
revenue, the revenue?
the
Okay,
revenue sharing.
okay,
Yeah, the
okay.
revenue sharing. Because because the max is 20.5 million dollars. Right.
Right.
So we'll dive in here to how Michigan is approaching that. But I think just so think about Michigan's approach every year, right? And think about what Champion Circle does for Michigan, the one more year campaign, right? The campaign to raise NIL funds and raise NIL money, just to try and keep the best players, right? So think
Right.
back to going into last year, all of our efforts were going towards making sure that no one could poach Colston Loveland from us, Kenneth Grant from us, Mason Graham from us, right? So now I think that's going to be less of a concern when those guys are distributed their fair share of the revenue that's allocated to that sport. So within each sport, right? So football, for example, is the way that Michigan is doing it, which we'll dive into a little bit deeper here in a second, is going to be approximately a little over $15 million that's allocated to football, right? So they've got a salary cap of like $15.5 million that they're going to put towards sharing revenue with a football player. Now that's going to work within that salary cap is going to work, I would imagine, similar to how an NFL salary cap works, right? NFL salary cap is significantly higher, but you can assume that your quarterback is probably going to get the highest share of that revenue, right? In most cases, not in all cases.
Now, let me ask you this though: do they still get the revenue even if they got NIL deals?
Yes. So NIL deals are not going away.
Okay.
NIL is going to work separately in conjunction with this. Now, there's going to be a new system with how players have to report their NIL deals.
Okay.
Anything that is over. Let me pull it up here. Anything that is over. Um, maybe I don't have it pulled up here. Anything that's over like $600, they have to report, and they've got to. There's like a third party system now that's going to be involved with NIL deals that they have to funnel anything that they're making money through separately, but those deals are still going to be out there. So they're still going to be able to sign deals with the DraftKings and FanDuel and all of these other places.
Car dealerships, everything, restaurants.
Car dealerships. Yep. They're still going to get
it's
the
all
NIL.
separate. And then boosters. So anything, Bryce Underwood, I mean, it's all separate stuff. This is just where the university can now pay players.
Yep.
And they can assess
So
where
it start this year coming up, correct? Or it start next year?
Yeah,
this year. This upcoming athletic season. Yep.
So with something like, speaking of Bryce, how do something like that? Do that affect him that he getting that, you know what I'm saying, over the whatever the cap thing is?
No, because that's a separate donation. I don't know what to call it really, but that's just coming from someone else.
Okay.
So that started with Barstool, middle of the season with Dave. He got contacted. We didn't want to lose him. He was in our backyard. That's just like a whole different thing. So it's not coming from the university. So he's not over the cap or at all. It's just a separate. Someone else paid for that, basically.
Okay.
So that ain't going anywhere.
So he about to get that plus the whatever Michigan allocates. Okay. I was confused.
I'm guessing for retainment too. So like Derek was kind of saying as well, to maintain those players. So like the Colston Lovelands, the Mason Grants, the Kenneth Grants of the world, basically.
Okay.
Yep.
To make sure they don't leave. So most of it's going to football. The next sport, just talking Michigan here, not other college teams. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I could care less. Basketball, men's basketball will be the next highest sport, and you can obviously see that with our transfer portal class already coming into this season.
Right.
And so the third party that I was talking about it's going to be called NIL Go, and so it's going to be mandatory that student athletes report all NIL deals that they're a part of that exceed $600, and I think that the background of that is to prevent. Well, I think the background is to prevent, like, to make it so that it's more transparent and fair now that they've opened up revenue sharing, so that let's say a quarterback is going to get $3 million of the $15 million that's going to football, right? Well, it's to prevent another $2 million from being put under the table so it's making sure that if an athlete is offered an NIL deal, it's a fair market NIL deal. It's not just paying him. It's not pay to play, if that makes sense, right? So it's making sure that if the market value of an athlete endorsing a car dealership is $150,000, that the number one quarterback in the country is not getting paid $3 million for something that the market value is $150,000.
So basically, okay, they put the NIL cap on. They're putting the cap on NIL.
They're not, but they're putting in a system to create transparency, more transparency.
So it's just like reporting. It's just going to be like reporting, like when we do. So we're an LLC, so I report our business expenses. I have a whole spreadsheet of that. Anything that we purchase or any sale that we make, or even reporting taxes, it's just a report. Basically, it's just a tracker. Anything over $600, which I mean, I think that's good. I think that's a good idea to like just track anything with that. But I mean, even if I was a player, I'd want to keep track of that. Essentially, I mean, that's your money, but you also have to.
Can anybody see this, or is private? Or
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're going to open it up.
There's no way in hell this should be public. So I mean, you have to.
I was confused. So anybody could just look and see how much they make, or is it just okay?
No, it would just be rumor based, or it would be maybe publicly known, whatever they want. Now, like like the
However, yeah.
specifics of it. So Bryce Underwood. So like again, Dave Portnoy brought it up with Barstool. He got reached out to Larry Ellison's wife potentially from what he was saying on his podcast. And it was rumored that they gave him the money. His wife's a big Michigan fan, and whatever it was, I'm not going to give the number, but that's who paid him. So that's way separate. So what we're talking about right now with the revenue sharing with the House versus NCAA, it's just so universities can now pay legally, which probably happened before illegally, but universities and schools can now pay players and athletes.
So,
but
and
this
that's what I was
should
asking.
all be tracked.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this is important that it should all be tracked. So Derek, you said it was NIL goal for if you had reported like $600 or received $600 or more. So
Yep.
I don't know if that's just NIL. I don't know if that includes money
it
from
is.
the university.
So with
as
Derek,
well.
what you saying?
NIL.
Now,
Okay.
what you saying, Derek? That it's kind of like setting the market, right? So now the market for a QB at NIL is 10-5, right?
So, for Bryce, yeah,
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, this is gonna start turning into a semi-pro league. Like, so other quarterbacks in the pro and the NFL and other wide receivers look at what other wide receivers are making. That's exactly what this is gonna turn into.
That's because that's what I'm asking. So now can't nobody go over 10.5 or like.
That's a separate fund, though. I mean, it's a separate thing.
So that's why
an NFL team paying a player.
That's why there's a third party that's going to be overseeing NIL, which is going to work in conjunction with revenue sharing. So revenue sharing, it'll be up to each school how they want to take whatever $15 million that they're putting towards football and distribute that amongst their team. Right. It like that. That is going to be
sure
completely within
that 20 million or whatever, so much or however we get after we give it to the rest of the team. I'm pretty sure they're gonna split it with the squad. I don't think it's gonna be that much. You know what I mean? Especially now that we got 105 people on the squad. Like, you know what I mean? And everybody getting paid.
That doesn't mean that everyone has to get paid on the roster, right? So it's going to be up to each school, their discretion on how they pay that. So they may have people that they may have people that would be walk-ons, right? So think about walk-ons right now. So in the current state,
I thought walk-ons was over. I thought that was over. I thought since they upped the scholarships. Okay.
They are in a sense, right? They don't have to be. They just have a roster limit. So there's no one that says that you have to give a scholarship to everyone on the roster. It's just that there's no longer a limit, so you can. So right now, current state is, let's say that there's let's say a college football roster. Let's just go with 105 roster spots. Right now, there's 85 scholarships that have been going to those 105 roster spots. All right, So turn that into revenue sharing. Let's say that they say we are going to take 70 players and we're going to take 70 players and we're going to pay 70 players and we're going to give 35 players full ride scholarships. But we're not going to pay them revenue, but we are giving them a full ride free tuition to go get education at the University of Michigan. Yeah. Right. So they very well could distribute it to less than 105 players. And now the walk-ons, and not every school is going to be able to do this, but Michigan will. And now the walk-ons, they're not going to get a revenue share, but they are going to get a full ride scholarship. So they're going to go to the University of Michigan for free, right? Potentially, right? I don't know how it's going to work out, but
that's where I think there's no football aspect.
I thought everybody get paid now since it's sharing. I thought
not really.
Squad get paid.
Just for revenue sharing, where the schools can actually pay players, they can assign where that sport goes. So Derek was talking perfect example. Duke's probably going to put most of their revenue sharing, whatever it may be. It might not be 20 million, but they're going to put it towards basketball. Probably it'd probably be dumb not to.
No
Unless
question.
they want to build a football program, it's still going to take a long time because they're not a house brand in college football.
Like
Now, is
Maryland,
this
they
going
probably
to
gonna
cut?
put most of their money in basketball.
They try to be a football school, so
They-
we'll see. I still think they're going to try to put a lot of money towards just because of Under Armour and everything. I still feel like they're going to try to be a football school, but they're not going to be a football school. I still think Michigan and other schools, if they want to be football schools, they still need to build a culture around football and get the right players. They're not going to
Facts.
want drama in the locker room with money, just like an NFL roster would it, because this quarterback's getting paid more than this quarterback.
But let
in the
me ask
same
let me ask
division
you a
on a
question
separate
though.
team.
Let me ask
It's
you a
just a
question though,
mess.
Jason. Though, if you was a walk on,
Yeah.
right? If you was a walk
Yeah.
on, but you got a full scholarship, but I wasn't a walk on and I was getting revenue sharing, and I still got a scholarship, would you feel some type of way?
Depends. I
They,
mean,
they,
there's a human aspect. Like,
I
yeah,
think
I'm probably
if it's
going to,
like
but
that,
at
I
some
think
point,
that opens the door to more transfer portal. To be honest,
it could.
I
It
think
could.
so.
It could. I think it's gonna depend. It's not gonna. It's gonna depend on the program that has built. And Michigan's got a solid program still with money, but we're also one of the only probably
I'm not
programs that.
speaking on Michigan right now. I'm just speaking on the whole
I'm just saying,
situation in general.
I get it on Brock. I'm just
Okay.
saying, as an example, Michigan's probably a really good example. I'm speaking as a football fan here, and I mostly do. People are probably saying it's bullshit, but whatever. I don't care what you think. I'm just saying Michigan has a house brand that they have the revenue, but then they also have a program built on a football program. We want the right players. A lot of schools probably won't have that. They're going to have one or the other, and it's probably going to cause a little drama within the locker room because you're also going to have that human aspect to it. It might be at Michigan here and there. I just think we have a culture built that Jim has built here to want football players and also split money as well too. And other programs don't. A lot of other programs aren't going to have that.
I just hope that everybody on the squad get paid. I mean, I know 105 people ain't getting paid. I just hope, you know what I'm saying?
They're not, but I mean that's why this another aspect. So there's NIL out there potentially. There's
that's what I'm saying. And I think and I feel like if you got NIL, if you got NIL like Bryce, I know I'm sorry to keep bringing you up, Mr. Underwood. We love you. You know what I'm saying? You know you my guy. So I'm not trying to dog you when I say this at all. But I'm just saying, like, with the I'm just using you as an example, Mr. Underwood. You know what I'm saying? You my guy. But with him getting that 10 million, and then with I feel like he shouldn't get revenue sharing, or if he do get revenue sharing, his revenue sharing should be real low. You see what I'm saying?
Because he's getting money from another source that's different from the revenue sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. But still though, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm not, you know what I'm saying, a jealous man at all. But when it come to money, and you got to take care of your family and all of this. Now, if we all three of us supposed to, me, you, and Derek, and we all supposed to be getting $5 million, and we find out Derek getting 8. You know what I'm saying? Because his name Derek, you know good and damn well you ain't gonna feel, hey, yeah, that's just Derek. He getting 8. We gonna be like, hey, Derek, man, what you doing?
It's gonna be publicly traded like this information, because it's just gonna stir up drama. Like ESPN likes to do that. Like they're just gonna bring up this bullshit to tarnish the program. Like, why is this player not getting paid? Like they should be upset about. Like it should not be publicly known. But like, so we can talk about this real quick too. So JJ McCarthy, right? Another good example. Giving money to his offensive line, but then also donating it to CS Mott's Children's Hospital, camps, other things like that. Other players are doing the same thing, right? So Blake Corum donating his NIL money.
Revenue sharing though.
But that's the thing. It's
not saying he's not a good kid.
It's all
I'm asking these questions like they fucked up kids, and it's not that. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying?
It's you got to remember, don't overcomplicate it. It's all money. It's just a different source to retain athletes or pay players or give this type of money or this certain amount of money to a specific athletic department or athletic like type of program that you want to give it to. So yeah, Michigan's gonna give it more to football and then men's basketball secondly, but like it's not like it's all money. These players, like so Bryce, I don't want to use him as an example again. This is all hypothetical, but let's say there's a
Yeah,
player
that's what
on
I'm
Michigan
saying.
getting
It's
paid
just,
a ton
we
of
just
just wait.
talking about Bryce and
Let's
shit.
say
I don't like
let's
that.
say let's just say hypothetically there's a Michigan football player getting millions of dollars from a Michigan football fan, whatever. Okay, he still can maybe like deny like, hey, this revenue sharing, like, you know what? Please give it to this player instead. I want to retain this player. He's redshirted this year. Give it to this player instead. Hypothetically, we could see that because they can do whatever the hell they want with it. And the university, what are they going to say? No. Like, no, if it's the money, we'll retain you, we'll get you the money. But if there's a player like JJ McCarthy, hey, you're getting paid NIL. What did he do? He gave it some of that to his offensive line. He also donated it to camps and children's hospitals. Why couldn't a player just deny that and just say, like, no, I don't, I'm already getting paid enough.
That's the only thing I'll be mad about. Like, I just don't feel
the
like
human
it'd be
element.
fair. I mean, I know life ain't fair, but
we might not hear about it, boys, but that is going to happen. There is going to be a player out there, and
if
it
that
might
does
be
happen,
Bryce.
that's gonna make the transfer portal more frequent than what we thinking. Because, like I said,
not in my example because if they come out and say, like, I'm just going to use Bryce again. I'm just saying it's a good example. I'm just saying, like, he's getting money from another source of revenue, right? If the school comes to him like, hey, we're going to give, like, if Michigan randomly comes to him and says, we're going to give you more millions of dollars in revenue because now of revenue sharing, and you're also going to get this from this booster or this fan, right? He could honestly say, I'm getting paid enough. I really want that. That's awesome. But you don't need to retain me. I'm getting paid enough. I'm here for the long haul. I know I'm going to get millions of dollars more. I want you to give this money to this player that followed me to Michigan because I'm trying to build a culture around me. I'm a football player, and I also want to win a national championship, and I'm getting paid. Please take that money. Don't give it to me. Give it to this offensive lineman. Give it to this linebacker. Give it to this wide receiver. Give it to this player that we're trying to get in recruiting. We might, like I said, we might not hear about those things, but it is going to happen. And that is a perfect example.
I mean, that ain't gonna need to happen if they play everybody though.
Well, so here's the thing, though.
That's my point. That's where they will be paying a lot more players if that happens.
Right. But here's the thing, right? So think about the impact players on a roster are going to get paid more, just like the NFL, right? Yeah. Like the NFL has a salary cap. They all get paid significantly different amounts based off of the position and the market value of that position, right? And so there's already a discrepancy on college rosters, right, between guys on scholarship and walk-ons not on scholarship, right, between the guys that are getting a fully paid college experience versus guys that are taking their time to go and be on the practice squad of this of these teams and are also on a $20,000 academic scholarship towards a $40,000 a year tuition, and they're going to come out of college with a student loan after doing all the same work, the same grind to be on the practice squad, but that's what they want to do, and they know their role, right? So there's going to be there is going to be a discrepancy, right? And so it's easy to say it should be fair, but what's going to happen is the top programs in the country are going to say that here's what we pay our starting quarterback. QB1 at Alabama, at Georgia, at Ohio State, at Tennessee. QB1, if you get the role of QB1, you're going to get $2 million a year. You're going to get $2 million for being QB1, right? The role of wide receiver 1 is going to get this much money, right? The role of right guard is going to get this much money, right? And there's going to be a discrepancy, but they're not going to be able to leave and go and find that discrepancy not existing everywhere, right? Because it's going to end up being catered just like it is in the NFL, where there's a market value.
If it be like that, like I could see that working. But as far as just all right, here's such and such school, this is 30 million. Y'all divided up between 88, you know what I'm saying, players, and then y'all got 110 people on the roster, or however many people they divided up in, but still people getting left off, and then we'll give you a scholarship. But now I got this school Y offering me, hey, I got such and such for you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying,
and those guys might leave.
Transfer, yeah, exactly. I think it's gonna make the transfer.
So I get what you're saying, Dre. We could honestly see more in the transfer portal of not everyone.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
When you're in the NFL, which you could, when you're in the NFL, what the hell are you trying to do? You're seeing, like, I'm a receiver. You're seeing another wide receiver make more money than me. What are you trying to do? You're trying to build a legacy. So let's not overcomplicate it. It's just transferring to college football now. That's exactly what it's going to be. So as a freshman or whatever, you should have the expectation that Derek was saying, wide receiver number 1, QB1, all these other position players that are starting should be getting paid more. I need to build my legacy, and I need to be a football player, and that's the culture that we're trying to build. Now, if another school is trying to poach you, college football is going to be better, because not only do we have the universities or schools that can pay players now if we really want to keep you, we also have the NIL as well too, that we might be able to find our champion circle or fans donating as well. But
that's what I mean, though. If a school try to poach one of our kids and the kid ain't playing and he not getting paid, he out of here.
Thank God.
You know what I'm saying?
He might be, but then we have Michigan's the type of school that has the deep pocketbook to keep that player if we really want him. If he does not fit our culture,
but I don't think no kid gonna stay for no money. That's a kid that's trying to get to the league. You know what I'm saying? Would you advise your kid to stay because of some culture? I wouldn't.
So then, honestly, as a fan, I wouldn't want him. See you later, dude. Peace.
You gotta look out what's best for you.
Yeah, cool. I don't blame that player. I'm not trying to say that. I don't blame that player, but I don't want him at Michigan. That's not the culture we're trying to build here. So yes, there's money involved. Michigan's deep in the pocketbook with revenue, with offering players money from the university, NIL, boosters, the Michigan fan base, alum. We're in a good set in stone. But if a university is going to come in and we're offering like this player X amount, hey, I know you're not playing. You're going to be a legacy player for us. I know you're red-shirted. Please stay. We're going to offer you more money, or even maybe close to
red shirt is different.
I'm not worried.
Red shirt is different, but I'm talking about
whatever it may be. I'm just
2-3 year. You know what I'm saying? People,
yeah, it's just an example. Yeah,
I ain't talking about the freshmen. The freshmen, they, you know what I'm saying? They got time. Yeah. I'm talking about the second, third year players that's still on the bench. That's, you know what I'm saying? They out of there.
I'm confident as a Michigan fan, if we really want to retain them and not we either match or pay that player, that would happen regardless. If we really don't and his head's not straight, see you later. Good luck. Best wishes. We wish you all the best, but that's going to be it. Because what have we been talking about the last few years? This is turning more into a semi-pro NFL league. What is the NFL? It's a business. This is college football.
But the difference between college and NFL, you don't have just 4 years. No. That's the difference.
And that might change too.
In college, it got to be sped up just a little bit. Yeah, in college, it got to be sped up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because you're trying to get to the NFL.
Change, though, too. We're also going to see that change too. I mean, we had a player, what was it, last year? For the Miami Hurricanes. Can't remember the guy's name, bought his mama house. He was on his, I don't know how many teams, but it was his 9th year. Penix Jr., how many years in college football? 6 years. So, like, what you're saying is, yes, I agree. It's going to be the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, 4-year, 5-year, whatever. But now we're seeing these players get accepted to stay longer. These
And
guys might
I
stay
don't think
longer.
Penix was on the same team the whole time he was in college.
No,
He
was
wasn't. He was
Indiana.
at Indiana.
That's
at
what I'm saying.
Indiana.
See what? That's my point. He wasn't playing. They
But that's
offered
my
that man
point
that
is-
bread. He out of there.
Yes, that's fine. That's going to
Now he the
happen.
number
That's the world
ninth
that we're
pick,
living in.
eighth pick.
But he was also in college football more than 4 years. We've also seen players more than 6 years in college football.
That was because of I mean, everybody not gonna stay past 4
Yeah,
years, man.
I think
You know
you're
what I'm
gonna.
saying? Some of them is
see a
outliers.
You're going to see a lot more. I mean, you have Quinn Ewers that could have stayed at Texas or went to another school and got paid more money than he is now in the NFL. These kids are going to try to stay in college football. You're going to see this more common. Yep. It is going to happen.
I mean, if the money go up, yeah, if the money go up, for sure.
Yeah.
If you ain't going to be a first round pick or a high draft pick, I mean, I can see it. I can see it.
And I would too. I would stay for the big. I would stay.
And so we'll hop into Michigan's approach with how they're going to break it down here, but to touch on it, I think you're right, Dre. We are going to see transfer portal activity. I just think that I think where it's going to shift is the top tier players are not going to be transfer happy. It's going to be and no disrespect to any of these names. It's going to be the Cole Cabanas, the Amarian Walkers, the type players that are,
but that's what I meant though, Derek. I mean, that's what I meant.
Exactly.
The players that's on the bench,
right?
You know what I'm saying? That want to play,
because there may be some place that they may be looking at if they are getting a piece of revenue sharing. It's really small, right? And there's no NIL deals to come behind it because the NIL deals are going to the top players.
Big
so
boys.
they absolutely might.
But Michigan's in position to keep those players, though. If I was another fan of another school, I would be a little bit worried.
Man. Come on, man. You gotta ask yourself this, Jason. This your third year. This your third year at linebacker at Michigan, bro. You're not playing. Florida State come give you and say, "Come on, bro. We about to start." You not leaving? Because you want to make a legacy for somebody else?
I would leave. No, I would leave. Michigan's going to try to retain them. My point is, life's not fair. College football is turning more into a business. You're going to be gone.
That's the business side of it.
You have a better player, but that's the business side of it, though. But the business side of it is making that decision to leave for more money.
No, we ain't talking about right now. We're not even talking about money. Leave the money out of it. Kill the money. If you're in your third year and you're not playing, and it's another school that's about to give you a starting job, and your goal is to go to the NFL, and you only got 2 years of eligibility left, you're not leaving?
I'm leaving. You would be leaving anyways. You'd be leaving. We don't have to, like I said, we can kill the money. We can tell you that player would be transferring anyways. We could talk about this hypothetically 10 years ago, but it's irrelevant. You're going to be leaving anyways. Whether you're doing it for the right reasons or the wrong reasons.
That's the point I'm getting at. They gonna leave.
You'd be leaving anyways.
Kids ain't caring about no legacy, bro. Kids caring about a bag. We in a time. We're
not talking about the money, though. I thought we're not talking about the money.
I'm just saying in the overall. I'm just saying that the day and time we're living in right now, kids ain't caring about no legacy. They caring about bags and trying to get to the NFL.
Yeah,
to get a bigger bag.
I don't want you on the team anyways, and that's fine. That's wishes.
Bro, I could tell you right now, it's people on Michigan right now that want a bag. I ain't gonna say they don't care about team. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. But their main thing is to take care of their family and get rich and get a bag. You know what I mean? That's the goal.
I agree with that. And I think there should be another assistance thing with that as well, too. Like there should be another aspect to this whole money, to help with that stuff, right? But like I said, we've talked about it for years, guys. Like this is turning more into a business, and I 100% agree. They have to do what's best for them.
Yeah.
So if you have to leave Michigan, go for it. But like if we're a stacked house and you're not the best player, you're not going to play. You don't deserve that money. I'm sorry. It's tough. Go to another school. Best wishes. Sincerely, go to another school
See,
that's going to
that's
pay you
hard to
the
say,
stunt.
bro. That's hard to say. You know what I'm saying?
So-
It depends on that. There's so many different scenarios with it. It's too hard to. It's too complex.
if that's the case, lead the roster spot. I mean, lead the scholarships and the roster spots to 85, and then everybody get a piece.
But that's what they're getting rid of. So
it's a business. It's a business.
If a school wants to only pay 65 scholarships, they can, right? So they just took the limits out of it and said, dude, go spend money how you want to spend money.
Okay, so you don't gotta have 110 people. Correct, it's up to your discretion. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But
that's where I was lost at. I'm like, bro, how the hell is y'all about to pay 105 people? It is no way like that. How much do you say we that 25 million? After that, we get the rest of the.
Our other schools supposed to compete.
That's what I was like. Hold on, bro. Like we about to have a lot of transfers.
They're not going to have the 20.5 or the 20 to 20.5 million dollars in revenue. We could talk about a smaller school, maybe within the Big Ten. There's a lot of examples there. They're not willing to do that, or they just don't have the revenue share for it. They don't have the alum. They don't have the boosters. They don't have the fan base. I'm sure they have some type of program, but they don't have the money. They're going to be struggling. Once this super conference gets created, it's not going to happen.
What is this revenue based on?
It's the cap. So the revenue cap for what college athletic departments can share with student athletes is $20.5 million. And now colleges are going to have the discretion of how much they actually share with the players. It doesn't mean that they all have to share 20.5, but that's the most. That's the most that they can.
That's for everybody. So can't nobody go over. Okay, bet. Okay, I get it.
Correct.
Okay. So
Correct. Some schools that are not going to be willing to do that because they do not want to live in the NIL world yet. Or two, they can't do it. They can't compete with that.
Not that it's a cap. Now that I know it's a cap, that's a level playing field. I thought it was just like Brent said Brent said it was the ones with the deepest pockets. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, that ain't gonna be fair, but not that it's a cap.
So there's a lot of different sources.
Yeah,
for example,
we'll see how I go after this year. You know what I mean? We don't know how it's going. We're speculating for real.
Yeah, and so for example, here's the differences that it's going to impact. So, Michigan. So this is I'm pulling this from Mason Brew. So shout out to Mason Brew for having some of this information put together. But the projected annual revenue for this upcoming year for Michigan's athletic department is $166,204,800. Yeah. So 20.5 million of 166.2 million is what they're going to share with their student athletes. The annual projected revenue for Maryland is 82 million to 82.2 million. So about approximately 25% of that would so they would be sharing suddenly without any warning approximately a quarter of their revenue with athletes if they went to the max. I don't know if they are or not.
Is it a minimum? Say it, man.
Minimum? Is there a minimum?
There you go. Thank you. Jeez.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a minimum. I think there's just a maximum.
Up at the beginning too, yeah.
I think there's just a maximum. And so
okay.
That's gonna put schools. Rutgers, 76.5 million is their revenue.
Yeah.
Right. And now keep in mind that there may be fewer sports at some of these schools as well.
Yeah, so Wisconsin doesn't have men's baseball. Or baseball, I should say. But I think this is kind of cool because there's a very much stress. Yeah, Bryce is going to be starting for sure.
Bryce, yes.
But like, there's going to be and it's BRYCE. But there's going to be.
Sorry again, Mr. Underwood.
One part about this, there has to be some strategy behind it from these schools. where are we going to put the money, in what program, what players, what type of identity do we have as an athletic institution, right? Where what program are we going to put the money into, and then what players? So like, I'm not going to lie, guys. Like, some of these schools might really play this wrong, and I think one of them is going to be Maryland. They're going to try to they're trying to become a football school, right? They've been that's not their identity though. It's basketball. I'm not saying that they can't be a football school, but are they going to get the right players if they take that money and invest it into the football program instead of the basketball program? And they might see and not get the right players. Yes, they might see both programs where they should be a basketball school, they want to be a football school. They might see both programs just collapse because they play their cards wrong.
Hey, Jason, you want to come to Penn State?
Fuck no, I would never go to
that Maryland's not paying you good. You want to come to Penn State?
But that's my point is,
you know what I'm saying?
Are you guys seeing what I'm saying? Like, though, like these schools Maryland, they could play this wrong. They could be putting their money where they shouldn't be, basically, and they could just be collapsing both programs when they should be sticking to this program. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 5 years with this.
I want to know. When I get off, I'm gonna look at the total number of transfers that we had this year, this offseason.
We got the list right now.
How many people was in the transfer portal? That's what I mean. Like, how many number of people was in the transfer portal? And then let's see if it go down or up in the next 2 years with this revenue.
Look at the additions though too, because it's going to be from every school. It's going to be from every program.
That's what I meant.
I'm going to talk about. Maryland.
I think it's like I think we had like 30 or so, including walk-ons that hit the transfer portal. But
no, I ain't talking about Michigan. I'm talking about like the whole NCAA.
Right. I mean, it's already oversaturated. But let's jump into what Michigan's doing. Right. So there's 20.5 million is the cap of what schools can put towards revenue sharing with their athletes. And Ward Manuel did send out a letter, I think earlier this month, I think the beginning of this month, probably like 3 weeks ago or so, detailing Michigan's plan, which is to hit the cap, to just go all in, share 20.5 million with Michigan athletes. And they're following a common model of what a lot of the Power 4/5 programs are following, which is 75% of that revenue is going to go to football, which would be approximately $15.4 million. 15% of it's going to go to men's basketball, which is approximately $3.1 million. 5% is going to go to women's basketball, which is approximately $1 million. And then that leaves another 5% to be spread across the rest of Michigan's athletic programs, right? And so I would assume that hockey is going to get hockey has been pretty strong. I would assume Michigan hockey is going to get a decent share of that 5%.
College hockey is going to blow up at some point. I mean, 3 straight Frozen Fours, and we couldn't even get to the fucking championship game.
Man.
Still pisses me off.
Shut up, man.
So,
like every third,
you don't even know what I don't get it. Besides every fucking one, dude. How does that not piss you off? All that fucking NHL talent?
It does, but hey, there's nothing we can do about it, bro.
I'm gonna punch a hole in the wall first, and then I'm gonna binge eat.
So even, but even looking at this, right? So Michigan football, 15.4 million approximately. Even if you divide that up evenly across 105, so say that they that they pay everyone on the roster and pay everyone evenly, it'd be a little over $146,000 that every player on the roster would get with that salary. Now it's not gonna be that.
How many players is that? You said
105.
105. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's some good money though. That's some good money.
Right, but then it's gonna be scaled out, right? So if we look back at Michigan's roster last year, honestly, our quarterbacks probably would have been more towards lower end of the pay scale because they didn't even know who their starting quarterback was going to be. So they didn't have anyone coming into that role that was like, hey, you're going to get paid $2 million, right? Colston Loveland maybe would have been paid like $1.5 million out of the $15.4 million. And you might have had Kenneth Grant that got close to $1 million and Mason Graham that got close to $1 million, right? And that's where you put those things in place to pay your star players that are coming back. And then you might have somebody that's fighting for a roster or fighting for a starting spot, right? And so they don't know if they're going to be a starter or not. They're a rotational player and they get paid less. But Michigan's in a good spot. They're in a strong spot with how much revenue they bring into their athletic department that is not going to hit so hard. So I mean, even layering how they're going to afford this, because now it's almost like they've expanded and added an entirely new department that they're paying an additional $20.5 million to that never existed before,
which we're going to see cuts,
right?
As well too,
and so
unfortunately,
right. Hey, how many
that's
spots?
That's what they're going to.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what they're going to do, right? So they have to account for $20.5 million in basically paying new employees. Plus they plan over and they're planning to add they said over 82 scholarships across all 19 sports. So with the caps gone on scholarships, they're planning to pay more full ride scholarships, which is going to come out of an athletic department budget as well. And on top of that, this is a light year for home games for football, right? Which is their cash cow. So there's only 6 home games this year instead of the typically they have like 8 home games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the what is driving the most revenue is going to drive less revenue this year because of the fact that there's fewer home games. So there's going to be budget cuts. There's going to be staff reductions. They're going to have to get tighter on how they travel for not probably football or basketball, but how they travel for golf and cross country and swimming and field hockey, right? Those are going to be the share of it. They're going to share less of the TV revenue with the university. But then they're going to drive new revenue with it sounds like they're going to open up more advertising and sponsorship opportunities like game day in stadium, in-house, which they've shied away from in the past to keep the authentic feel to it. I thought
Ward said he wasn't going to do it.
No, I think they're gonna expand. I think they're gonna expand some sponsorship opportunities.
He also wasn't big into NIL too, but I mean, middle of the season last year, Barstool.
But they can do it like the NFL do. I mean, the NBA do it. Y'all, I don't know if y'all ever noticed, like the NBA, we watching it on TV. It be logos on the floor on the TV, but in real life, it don't be on the. You know what I'm saying? They can do that type stuff.
Yeah, the NHL does it too across the boards.
Oh, they do.
And on the ice. Oh yeah, every game on TV. Every game it changes.
So it really don't be on the ice though. It just be like, okay.
It's just on the screen. Same as baseball. So behind the catcher, same thing. It changes as well too. So it adds all that stuff. So you're probably going to see the shit on the jerseys as well too. You already see it in the NHL.
I hope not.
I think there's a fine line. I think there's a fine line between going.
Let's get Hopcat, dude. Hopcat on our jerseys.
Full
big
minor league sports.
Badass box grills you guys have in Michigan. We could get one of those fuckers on one of the jerseys too. That'd be tight. Right? Go ahead, Derek.
I think there's a fine line to opening up sponsorship opportunities versus being like a minor league baseball team where everything has a sponsor tied to it and all of that, right? That there can still be some exclusivity where, in fact, an example is I'm pretty sure Stanford has a major company pay a sponsorship to not have any sponsors, right? So like somebody is paying to keep it authentically unadvertised on. But even like just say Ford, right? For example, right? To tie something in Michigan to Michigan. Let's just say Ford says, you know what, we're going to be an exclusive sponsor. We're going to pay $10 million. And what we want is we want our logos here, here, and here, and here. And we don't want any other logos in the stadium. And we just want our logos here. And people are going to walk in and they're going to see the Ford logo. But it's not going to be overpowering. You're not going to have a bunch of little pylons basically with different brands all over it. The kickoff is not going to be the Taco Bell kickoff, and the goalposts are not going to be brought to you by whatever, right? Like it's not going to go to that, right?
Fuck Chipotle, by the way.
I just hate that. But I feel like with all of that though,
it's gonna change.
College football in the next year, like you said, in the next.
I'm not a fan of it either. I can tell you the truth.
It's gonna be so different.
It's different.
It's gonna be
different.
But Michigan's in a good spot. Not ever like speaking of Maryland, that Michigan can fully take the blow of taking $20.5 million and assigning it, right? They can pay over $15 million to football, over $3 million to men's basketball, right? And so if we're talking about 15 roster spots, let me just see what that is. That's over $200,000 per player in men's basketball, right? With the 15 player roster limit. So and Michigan can do that, right? So they can have it set up so that basically every football player could, in theory, make $150,000, and every basketball player can make $200,000. And women's basketball players, $1 million towards women's basketball is $67,000 approximately, right? On a little under $67,000. So a school like Maryland, they're going to have to choose, right? Like, do I want to stay competitive in football and basketball? What's that going to do to all?
I want to push football because I want to be a football.
Do they got every sport though?
Yeah,
they got a lot. They're going to have golf. They're going to have swimming. They're going to have field hockey. They're going to have water polo. They're going to have all of these other Olympic sports, right. Soccer, lacrosse. Yeah. And so, I mean, my guess is they're probably going to try and put it towards football or basketball.
I still think it's going to be basketball, bro. I think they're going to put just how we got 15 on. It's going to be what you say, 15 for us, basically.
Yeah,
I think they're going
for football.
They're going to put about. Yeah, that's what I meant. You know what I'm saying? 15 for football. I think they're going to at least put that for basketball if they, you know what I'm saying, doing the whole 25. I mean, they basketball team, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, but they want to be a football school, though. That's what they've been trying to do. They're just not going to be able to do it because it also comes with the brand.
Their stadium ain't even big enough for a football school, bro. No. Like, what's going on?
No, it's not.
So, I mean, I love, honestly, with the Michigan approach, right? So it is what it is, right? We're to an era of college athletes being played to go play the sport, especially. I
like our strategy, Michigan's strategy behind it, where they're putting the money right now. I know that's not fair for other players and athletes, but it's not. Like I said in the beginning, this is a business now. It's a business. It's becoming more of a business every single year. College football is going to rule all of college sports. It's always been without the money as well too, but that's just what it's going to turn into. Unfortunately, it's going to suck for most of us. It's going to look a little different, but it's just kind of the world that we live in right now. But the strategy point is you really got to invest. Where are you going to invest your money? In what sports program? Where are you going to invest your money in what player? What type of player? So that interests me a lot more than really any other topic we talked about with revenue sharing. But I think some colleges are going to play their cards wrong, and some colleges are going to play their cards right. And I like what Michigan's doing right now with where they're assessing the funds money. Obviously, we're not publicly going to know about the players, but it'll be interesting what other programs do.
Yeah, and so another benefit that we're going to have here, more so with football. But I think we'll probably at some point in time dive into some specific podcasts or some specific articles. So by the way, if you're listening and this is new information and you want to catch up with a recap of what's going on with NIL, go to thevictorsnation.com. We put out an article that kind of details what's going on with the House versus NCAA settlement and with Michigan's approach to handling it. But we'll probably dive in specifically to, here's how football is being impacted. Here's how basketball is being impacted. Here is some threats, concerns, benefits to other sports, because there may be some benefits to other Olympic sports as well. It's easy to look at it and say, well, what about all the other sports? Well, it's already, what about all the other sports right now anyways. And that's always been a challenge with for a lot of colleges, football and basketball really drive the revenue for the athletic department to be able to support most of the other sports anyways. So that's going to hold true to some capacity now. Smaller programs that have to allocate more resources to a higher percentage of their resources to doing this, maybe it's going to cripple some of the other sports in ways that we're not anticipating. But we'll dive into some of that more specifically in different podcasts. But Michigan football has the benefit of Sean McGee. So Sean McGee is who was hired to be the GM of Michigan football, right? Which is a unique role, hiring a general manager of a college football team, right? And but he came from an NFL background. Before he went to Michigan, he was the chief of staff for the Chicago Bears. So he's coming in with a structure of how teams build their rosters with a salary cap, highlighting the players of the most importance and building that out as what percentage of your salary cap goes to what positions and what types of players. So that to me feels like it's going to be an advantage because I feel like did you guys remember when there's a video game called like NFL Head Coach?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You didn't actually like play games. You just were basically like managing rosters.
Yeah.
And like as a kid, you'd go and you'd throw all your money towards like the best quarterback in the game or something like that. And then you wouldn't have any money left over for the rest of your roster. Or like when you see those posts
with your offensive line, but yeah.
Yeah. Or you see those posts where it's like you've got $15, build your team, and it gives you a list of players, and you can like you got the $5, the $4, the $3 players, right? Like that's what it's gonna be like. And there's gonna be probably some big programs that completely botch it because they go all in and trying to get that 5-star quarterback, and so
that's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think fans are thinking about that aspect right now of these universities with revenue sharing on the strategy. Like how are these universities going to be strategic of what type of programs they have, where they're going to put it, and where they're going to put it with the players? Like some of these colleges are going to absolutely right, Derek. They're going to botch it. Like it's not going to be a good look, and they might end up ruining like all their programs for years to come. It's not just going to impact that 1 year; it's going to impact it for quite a bit. So it's going to be interesting, for sure. But we already have identity. Football school.
And hey, don't discount us as a basketball school.
Oh, we got one of the best transfer classes again.
I'm about to say you shitting on my boy Dusty, bro. I ain't gonna allow that. You can't be shitting on my boy Dusty.
I'm not shitting on anyone, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I watch more college basketball than both of you combined. I don't even want to.
Hey.
That's not true.
No, that's both. Yeah, I'll shit.
We text each other every single game.
Hey, I'm not gonna say a damn thing about that. I'm straight football head. I watch basketball every now and again. So you got me there, buddy.
Not the NBA, though. I'm not into the NBA, but like college basketball, like that's
Same.
my bread and butter. Every year, March Madness, I always take off.
Love March Madness.
Oh yeah, March Madness.
But you take half days, Derek. But you take half days. I take full days. Huge difference. Just saying. You know it's true.
That's true. That is true. At least on the first day, I always take a half day. Second day,
yes. Actually, no, yeah. Second day you did do a full day. I thought you did do a full day, Kim. Yeah. Yep. It's rough. Put in some shifts.
For sure. But I mean, a lot more to come on this topic. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said,
never ending topic.
We'll probably dive into
more details on everything broke down for sure.
But it's a topic we could probably talk about like for hours. Like we could just keep going and going and going. Like it's never going to end. And it's a sensitive topic. It is. It just embrace change, people. I mean, just embrace change because change is coming. This ain't the end of it, so it's going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for most of us, we're going to probably appreciate the fact that Michigan is taking in a aggressive approach to how they're going after, and they have to. There's no other choice because Ohio State's going to. Honestly, I was surprised looking at this Maize and Brew list of revenue sharing and projected revenues for this year. Wisconsin is actually up there. So Ohio State is projected to have 187 million. Michigan's 166. Penn State's 141. Wisconsin is next at 132. So like they're Iowa's 118, Michigan State's 117, Nebraska's 142. So Nebraska's actually going to be in a pretty decent.
Like I said, with all this money, like it's still Nebraska I could see, but like just Wisconsin, I mean, you still have like Luke Fickle, still a newer head coach to that program.
Man,
it's still a different aspect. It ain't just the money. Like it's going to be a challenge to still build that program up with that type of money. It's still going to be a bitch, even though they got Carter Smith. I still wanted him at Michigan, but like I don't know. We'll see what he can do there. It's going to be interesting with that one.
Wisconsin specifically, though, I would say that Wisconsin specifically is probably in a better spot with revenue sharing than they were with NIL by itself. With revenue sharing,
they didn't encourage it. They just had the Badger, whatever the fuck they called it.
Right.
It wasn't Badger care.
Right.
That also sucked, by the way. Yeah.
So I think they're actually in a better spot because of this than what they would have been just in the.
Well, they were regardless. Yeah, for sure. It'll just be interesting to see how they build that up.
Yeah.
With it, but yeah, it's better than what they had with NIL. They're probably going to see more success with it.
Yeah,
well, we'll
for
see.
Sure. But anyways, for those of you that tuned in, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for dropping some comments. Thanks for sharing. Be sure to like. Be sure to like the Victors Nation podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the Victors Nation podcast. If you're tuning in and you are not yet following us on Facebook, be sure to go on Facebook, search for the Victors Nation, hit join to join the group, follow us on X/Twitter, whatever you refer to it as. And stay tuned. Stay tuned as we continue. Yes. And if you look at shopthevictorsnation.com, we've got merchandise, t-shirts, coffee cups for sale. So we appreciate the support. We appreciate you tuning in. Yeah. But on that note, Dre, you want to sign us off?
Y'all already know. Love one another, respect one another, and always go blue.
Go blue.
Go blue.